Games with stories. A lot of people like them, but unfortunately as of late, games with stories are viewed as worthless by many AAA game developers because they don't make as much money as multiplayer games, so they can't just milk them until they run dry. Or that is at least what some people would say. Even if it is true, that doesn't mean that story-driven games, or games with a story in general, have ceased to exist. There are a lot of games with incredible stories that have been released recently, have been released in the past, or will be released. The point of this video is to look back at games with good stories and go over what made them good in the first place. I will be going by genre, providing multiple examples for each one. I, of course, can't go over every video game genre and every game in that genre in this video, because I make short videos, that's sort of what I do. So if this video does good, I'll make a second part. Starting with the genre that contains a lot of story-driven games and at the same time useless money grabs. First-person shooters.
Oh my god!
And the FPS games I'm going to be talking about are the ones with a solid and set campaign. So I won't talk about games like Fallout or other RPG shooters here. There are a lot of shooters with good stories. The old COD games immediately come to mind. I'll always remember the story of Black Ops 1 because it was amazing. Black Ops 1 was the first COD game that was set in the Vietnam War, and it had the numbers thing going on, which made some amazing plot twists like Reznov is dead. The unpredictability of this story made it amazing for me, and once you learn of Reznov's fate, if you replay the game, you'll start to see the signs that he was dead the whole time, even before the reveal. Another shooter that immediately comes to mind is obviously Halo. I have talked a lot about Halo on this channel because it is one of my favorite game series ever. Its story is unique and I just love universes where you can just dive into them and learn everything about a certain race or a planet. This is the same reason why I also love things like Warhammer 40k. These two are more traditional shooter games, however. They are normal paced games, though shooters aren't limited to that. When you think of Doom Eternal, the first thing you'd think about would probably not be the story. But I played Doom for the story. It is just crazy and a roller coaster of chaos, if that makes sense. I think that one of the reasons for Doom's story being so good is that it is exactly like the gameplay. Insane, cool, amazing, metal, chaotic, mostly cool. I mean, you literally kill godlike beings and the actual fucking god in Doom Eternal. Alright, let's move to another genre. Metroidvanias. I love the Metroidvania genre since two of my favorite games of all time are from that genre, Super Metroid and Hollow Knight. Though I should talk about Hollow Knight here. Hollow Knight on the surface seems like a cartoony game, but the story isn't like that at all. The story of Hollow Knight is about the tragedy of a fallen kingdom caused by regret and a vessel's desire to make their father proud. If you want to hear more about this topic, I made a video about the Hollow Knight on my own channel a few months back. The tragedy is done perfectly in my opinion, and it does environmental storytelling perfectly too. When I first played the game, one of the most powerful scenes was entering Kingdom's Edge, seeing all those corpses falling down as the soundtrack slowly kicked in. The third genre I'll be talking about is the RPG genre. I wonder what RPG has an incredible story. Dark Souls. It's Dark Souls, and the other FromSoft games in general. I probably don't even need to talk about how Dark Souls' story is so good, but I'll talk about it a bit anyways, because I want to. One reason why Dark Souls' story has become so popular is the theorizing required to form a complete storyline. The official story leaves most things up to interpretation, but the main reason why I personally like Dark Souls' storyline is that it does the old/fallen/corrupted soldier trope perfectly. One of the best examples of this is obviously Lord of Cinder Gwyn himself. I think the Actman said it best in his Dark Souls video, so I'll put a link to that in the description if I actually remember to. But the short version is, you go through all those challenges including mythical creatures and mighty knights only to find yourself in a duel with a rumored god who is actually nothing but a husk of his former self. Fallout New Vegas is also an RPG, although its storytelling is drastically different from Dark Souls. Yes, there are tidbits of environmental storytelling, but the general story is directly told to you. And if you've been on the internet, you know that New Vegas has a really good story. For me, it is because some concepts are parallel to our own world. Concepts like imperialism, corruption, and democracy are used perfectly. The last genre I'll be talking about is the hack and slash genre, or character action if you're a smartass. There are two standout games in this genre that I have played that stand out in terms of story. Yep, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance is the first game I'll be talking about. I played this game in 2020 because I had a lot of free time during quarantine, and I loved it, even though I wasn't good at it. Its gameplay also isn't as good as the next game I'll be talking about, but the political commentary is amazing, and it's also the reason I like the story of this game and Metal Gear Solid in general. Its ability to actually provide political commentary in the story while also humoring and exaggerating politics makes it really good. Remember how I said 2 games and the next game I'll be talking about? The next game is a game featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry franchise, alongside Mr. Roman Emperor and Mrs. Roman Numeral. Yep, it's of course the entire Devil May Cry series, but I'll be talking about Devil May Cry 5 here because that's the only game I own on Steam. Devil May Cry's story is actually in the same boat as Doom Eternal. It's batshit insane, if that's how you would like to put it, and it fits in with the gameplay because of that. The story alongside the gameplay also follows the coolness of Devil May Cry and 2000s games. Look, it's a motorcycle, but it's now a fucking chain cycle. So yeah, like I said, the reason for the story being good is the same as Doom Eternal. That was it for this video. If any of you have more games that I probably forgot to mention or couldn't mention because of the runtime, I would really appreciate it if you could comment about it down below. And if you liked the video, I would also really appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.